Former WWE Women's Champion Bayley says the time is right for another Women's Evolution Premium Live event, but with a twist.
Welcome to Wrestling with Horror. Pete here with you, and today we're talking about Bayley making some statements concerning another Women's Evolution pay-per-view, and we'll get to her statement. But before we do, make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and if you have thoughts on another Women's Evolution pay-per-view in WWE, please leave them in the comments below. You can consider a channel membership for $2.99, $4.99, or supporting us on Patreon for $2. But now, on with the video. So Bayley, WWE former women's champion, member of the Four Horsewomen, one of the first real classes out of NXT to make it to the main roster and, become a huge star, as Bayley was. I'm not going to take anything away from her. I'm not a huge fan, but talent and charisma is there. She just has gimmick problems as far as I'm concerned. But so she made a comment here at WWE 2K25 hands-on event. All right. Bayley brought renewed focus to the second Evolution PLE and believes now is the right time to produce another women's premium live event. Her quote went on to say, "That's even more opportunities for women's wrestling to be showcased, There's so much more to do. There are so many more goals for us. Now we have 2 more titles we can go after. I've been dying for an Evolution 2, and I think now is the perfect time. Bigger than ever, we have more girls than ever. We can have a freaking back-to-back 2-night show if we wanted to, like WrestleMania. There's so many girls, so many at NXT. We got this TNA partnership. We've got 2 new titles. What are we doing? Let's do it."
Not a great plan.
So I don't have a statement prepared or anything like that for this point, but Bayley, speaking out of pocket here, of course, enthusiastic about the prospect of another all-women's pay-per-view event. They're pushing the women to the forefront here. You've added 2 new titles for them in the U.S. title and the Women's Intercontinental title, the Women's U.S. title. We don't do any of that mixed match garbage here unless it's in an apartment for $500 an hour. Adding 2 mid-card women's title when you can't even coherently book the tag titles is kind of a joke. And I feel as if 2 women's mid-card titles, 1 for each show, is not good either, because you can't coherently, again, book the men's titles, the mid-card titles, and make them mean something. You've put the U.S. title onto Shaky Nakamura, who is a shell of his former self and looks like an indie worker at this point. I'm not taking anything away from what he's done or the point that he's still at where he's at, but as far as a worker goes, he doesn't look good, as a champion. LA Knight was a champion. You've got the Intercontinental title on Braun Breaker. Great. What are you doing with him? You're not doing anything with him. So the same thing can be said for the women's titles, which they're still in their infancy. So we'll have to see. And I will say this, that the women's U.S. title on Chelsea Green, Chelsea's amazing. All right. And I don't give a shit about the Lucha Underground mixed match garbage. In the women's division, strictly, she's freaking fantastic. Her gimmick, her presentation, microphone, promos, everything, wonderful. She's utilizing the title, using that to elevate her a little bit more. On the other hand, you have Lyra Valkyria, first women's Intercontinental champion. Lyra is a talented, consistent young lady. She's got a great look, good physique, athletic, moveset in the ring, solid. There's just something missing. The crowd cheers for her a little bit, but she's not in that upper echelon. Chelsea Green is elevated more than Lyra simply on talent and ability alone. And the point I'm making here is you've got a ton of girls in this company, but you have very few female stars. Same thing with the men's side can be said, but we're focusing on the women's side today and with this article. So the necessity for another all-women's pay-per-view, comparatively speaking to the first one, and WWE has no plans of this right now. This is just Bayley, as I said, speaking out of pocket at an event. And of course, this is how ideas get turned into actual concepts and get brought to life. It's that old mantra, thoughts become things. So am I for or against this? I'm not going to come out and outwardly say I'm against it. altogether, because I'm not, at the risk of, sounding misogynistic. I don't really give a shit about that aspect of sounding that way. I'm just saying that the need for this in the form of a 2-night event, as Bayley alluded to, just like WrestleMania, is dumb as fuck. That is the only part of this that I find absolutely stupid. Go ahead and do another one. Absolutely. You do have a ton of female talent that deserves to be showcased. I'm not opposed to that. What I am opposed to is taking something that is a 1-night event and stretching it into 2 simply for money. Because that's what this is about. Yeah, at its core, you're going to look at it and say it's an opportunity to showcase these ladies. But on the other hand, you really have to look at it realistically, and this is a cash grab if you do it 2 nights. You don't need more than 8 matches. I don't give a shit how many girls you have. And that doesn't mean slap 30 of them into a battle royal just for the sake of it. Don't do that. That's sloppy. Put together 8 strongly constructed matches with your top talent. This whole idea that everybody needs a WrestleMania moment is stupid, okay? Not everybody needs a WrestleMania moment if they make it to the show. You earn a spot up the card on WrestleMania, which has been diluted now because you've turned it into 2 nights, which is a joke. I don't like that concept. I actually hate it. Any 2-night pay-per-view event is stupid. I'm sorry, I don't give a shit. And you little weirdo neckbeard marks can get all mad and upset, but at the end of the day, no, you couldn't lace my fucking boots. There's my boots. I guarantee you cannot lace them. I'll put money on it. The problem with 2-night things is it dilutes the brand. It takes away the meaning and the impact of certain things. Like I always hear this, I main evented WrestleMania. Yeah, you were the mid-card match on WrestleMania because the main event on night 1 is the mid-card. That's the mid-card spot, And I know they don't book it that way, but if you look at it as one card, you're mid-card if you're main event on night 1. So the women, there's a ton, but let's get back to the Women's Evolution. So the first Women's Evolution pay-per-view back in 2018, okay? So it's at the Nassau Coliseum in New York, which is a 16,000 seat venue. They sold 10,900 seats, or there was 10,900 in attendance. Dark match, Rhea Ripley and Dakota Kai. Boy, Rhea Ripley working dark matches, but that was way back in 2018. Trish Stratus and Lita defeat Mickie James and Alicia Fox. Oh, God. The Refrigerator Jax went over in a 20 women's battle royal match. You had basically 8 matches. Toni Storm won. You had Botchfest Banks and Bayley. Shayna Baszler, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair in the last woman standing match, which Dave Meltzer rated 4 3/4 stars. And the main event was Ronda Rousey defeating Nikki Bella with Brie Bella by submission. And of all the matches you could have had for the main event that show, and I wasn't watching very much at all in 2018 because the product had just gotten so stale I couldn't. Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella is on nobody's list of a main event match that anybody wants. So with that being said, I look at the quality of the workers, and I'm not saying there's not quality workers on that card. There was quality female workers, absolute quality female talent on that card, and a lot of future talent. But now you have much more. And if you're going to do it, I'm an advocate for condensing it down into, like I said, 7 to 8 solid matches. Not every show has to be Starrcade 86 with 13, 14 matches, Tony Khan. But you condense it to 8 matches. You put your best foot forward. You've got girls from NXT, Sal Ruka, Jordan Grace, Julia, Stephanie Vakir. I'm not counting the diminutive Roxanne Perez because I have no love for her at all. Nepotism, strictly. Although talented, still way too small, no muscle, just looks tiny in the ring. You've got main roster. You've got Alexa Bliss. You've got Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. You've got Charlotte Flair back. You've got all these girls. You got Chelsea. You've got Lyra that you can do things with. You've got Bianca Belair who needs to turn heel, and Jade Cargill that nobody cares about anymore because she has been trained by the best and still is not grabbing on to this concept. But aside from that, there's a ton of talent in the WWE Women's Division. And I'm sorry, but condense it. Tag titles, 1 women's title, 1 mid-card title. That's all you need. Same thing on the men's side. Get rid of the U.S. title, make a light heavyweight, get rid of the world heavyweight, WWE Championship, Intercontinental Championship, light heavyweight, tag titles. That's all you need. Seven titles. That's all you need. No more, no less. But as far as the women's Evolution pay-per-view goes, as I stated, there's no plan for this. This was Bayley shooting from the hip, trying to get an idea out there into the ether to see if anybody like Triple H bites on it in creative and they say, okay, let's plan this. Let's put this together. So like I said, I'm not opposed. I bet you a lot of you thought I was going to come out and be like, oh, no, I don't care. It doesn't matter. NWA did the same thing with Empower. It was. So, yeah, they did NWA Empower. And that was when Camille was still relevant and their women's champion. But God knows that poor woman has been screwed over by Tony Khan. And I am glad to see she got that role in Queen of the Ring. But this is probably the most non-angry wrestling video I've had to do in a while. Like I said, I think if they're going to do this for the women, you do it right and make sure it showcases the proper talent and it's not just a bloated card where you're trying to get everybody a spot. Not everybody deserves a spot. Spots are earned. So with that being said, folks, that's all I got for you. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the concept of another Women's Evolution pay-per-view premium live event. I'm old. I'm calling them pay-per-view still, but it's a premium live event. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Check us out on Patreon. Channel memberships available. If not, like I said, just subscribe. It's free. It always will be. I'm Pete from Wrestling with Horror. If I don't see you, have a great day. A pleasant tomorrow. I'll catch you on the next one. Remember, it's always better to burn out than fade away.